Hey everyone, this is Ollie and Nina from Calm Journey Therapy. The idea of this video is for us as therapists to try and answer people's questions or potentially negative thoughts about therapy and try and counter or contact some of the myths and general misconceptions about therapy. Now, we've done this by researching on the net the general myths and ideas about therapy, in particular what people generally think about therapy and perhaps what may stop them from going. We also asked on Facebook if anyone had any views on therapy which they would like to share, which we will be looking at in a bit. Apart from this introduction, there is no script and has not been rehearsed, as we felt this would be more productive to show people that therapists are in fact normal everyday people. Again, to perhaps change the stigma some people have. We both have our tablets to show us the questions and myths we have found, so with that in mind, I'm going to start with therapists are full of psychobabble. This one always makes me laugh for the simple fact that yes, psychobabble is it is about, isn't it? But I wouldn't say that all therapists use psychobabble. I would say that psychobabble is just words people don't understand, isn't it? If you find a good therapist, like for example, someone who you click with, which is the whole idea about therapy, they won't be using any form of psychobabble. They will use words that everyone understands and generally feel comfortable with, I think. Yeah. I mean, the funny thing about it, though, is if we didn't use strong terms like psychoanalysis or psychodynamic theory, people might actually question whether we know what we're talking about, and that is the line. So I think the answer is no, not every therapist uses psychobabble, and we certainly don't as therapists. But yeah, I think that's a quick sum up to get the ball rolling. And I'll tell you what, I'm going to move straight onto this one, which I like, which is people who go to therapy are weak. Yes. Well, have you got any views about that? I don't. I think that's a bit of a weird one.
I think the going to therapy actually shows a sign of strength. Is a healthy thing to do. It's quite a natural thing to do.
I would say it's natural.
Yeah.
I think
it's what you feel, what feels right for you, really. So it's but it's a very healthy and cathartic process. But I wouldn't say it would suit everybody. You know, we're all very different.
Yeah, true.
You know, one size doesn't fit all.
The general concept of therapy. Yes, absolutely. The one size does not fit all. Yeah, I like that.
I think, you know, it is really down to the individual, but it is definitely a process which is very empowering. From my personal experience.
I couldn't agree more. Yeah. I think really ironically, from my personal background, I would probably be one of the people, maybe 4 or 5 years ago, would have actually thought, oh God, if I go and talk to someone, it is weak and that means you're really weird or something, which I think in England in particular is the general consensus, isn't it? It's the general feeling that if you're in therapy, you're in trouble. Yeah. Whereas in the States, in America, seeing what they would call, I think they do use the term shrink. Might be wrong on that, but shrink. Is normal, and I think if you're not seeing a shrink or a therapist, then you're more abnormal. But yeah, the therapy I've had is empowering.
It is very empowering, and you know, and it helps a lot of people reach their full potential. It's a lot more powerful than I think some people give it credit for.
Yeah. So in other words, I feel if you think, or more importantly, feel that you would like to talk to someone, then look into therapy. Look into talking to someone, because once you have that rapport with them, everyone I've spoken to, it blows their mind how much just feeling supported and actually working through your issues can actually move you on to the next stage of your life. But yeah,
it helps you if you're stuck. You know, and if you find a good therapist, most therapists give half an hour free initial consultations.
Yeah,
so
which we do as well.
Have a good rapport with them. You know, it sort of should be a no pressure sort of start for you. So.
I mean, I remember talking to my friend about when buying a house, and they said if you walk through the door and you don't like it, then that's it. And I probably would connect that to therapy in that if you're sitting down with someone and you don't like it, then they'll understand. It's really not an issue. It's more important. The most important thing for us as therapists is the client, and the client needs to feel happy.
Yeah, and the client relationship.
Exactly.
That's the biggest thing. That if it doesn't work, then it's not going to happen.
Perfect, exactly. Yeah, okay, so have you got one you wanted to bring up?
A lot of people think maybe therapists can help only if they've experienced the same thing. It's,
Yes.
you know, I think therapy, you know, a therapist is trained, if it's had a good training, you know, we have tools, like a toolbox with tools in it, which we know how to guide people through certain processes. There's no way, very few therapists that have experienced everything with their clients that bring through the door, that, you know, is impossible. So the therapists are trained to deal with lots of different situations and you know, help people through a process. We don't tell you what to do. We you know, you have the answers within yourself. So
Absolutely.
you know, we guide you through a process and help bring all those answers to the surface.
Absolutely, yeah.
Give you a clearer way to think and understand it. Yeah.
I was I did read something about this misconception about therapy, and the person who wrote it was quite strong in what they were thinking. They said, oh, you know, if they didn't understand that, if, for example, an alcoholic, let's say, not that we enjoy labelling, we're going to drop the label, but let's say, for example, an alcoholic, how would a therapist help me if they've never had any form of addiction or any form of addictive nature? And I think the key there, that the person said, was how can a therapist understand? The understand, I feel personally, is the issue. It is perhaps an underlying feeling of wanting to be understood, rather than the need to be with a therapist who has to have gone through the same thing, if that makes sense. So that it's the understanding, and with the therapeutic relationship that we've had with our clients, that understanding just evolves naturally, and we hold our clients in turn with that. So
guide them through the process, really.
So I think that's the understanding for that one. The list is endless. So
yeah, I mean, just one other thing I think is, like, you know, some people want to be helped and they do want to make the changes, and some people don't want to make the changes. So, you know, at the end of the day, it's down to the the clients. It's the responsibility to work through the process with the therapist. Yeah.
And get to where you want to be. That's the goal of therapy.
Yeah.
What have we got? Oh, go on.
I think a lot of people sort of get the conception that therapy goes on forever. You know, again, back to sort of speaking earlier, I think, you know, therapy will suit some people. Some people will never step through a therapist's door.
No.
You know, they just wouldn't. So, you know, I think with the fact that therapy goes on forever, not necessarily. It's down to the client, to make that decision, and you know when to stop, or maybe dip in and out as and when you need it.
Yeah.
You know, life is an ongoing journey, really. So
and I think the issue as well, isn't it? I mean, for example, if it's a harm, again, not to label, but if we were to say that there were such things as worse issues, lesser issues, whatever, if it's a deep issue, then that will understandably take longer than, say, for example, a lesser issue. A lesser issue, for example, would be, I'm quite nervous about a wedding speech for my best friend. That may be able to be conquered quite quickly, whereas someone who's got some underlying anxiety, that would take longer.
Yeah, definitely.
And we can only go as fast and as far as the client. So if the client doesn't want to go where the therapy they are leading goes, then it's going to, it may not.
We work at the client's pace, basically. We work at the pace that they want to work, and therapy is about them. You know, it's about you. It's not about fixing anyone else. That's not what therapy's for. It's about working with you and what you bring to therapy. There might be people that are annoying you or affecting the way you feel, but therapy is about.
It's about them.
About you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay, so where was one of my favourites? Bit of fun for everyone is that therapy involves laying down on a couch. I love that one. I love that one because it's quite. In fact, I think
they want to.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's been. I think since I started my journey with psychotherapy and counselling, I think I've been asked that at least, not exaggerating anything, 5 or 6 times. But you just come in and you lie on the couch, and I'm like, No. Now,
No.
if you wouldn't mind, I'm just going to go in a bit, and it does involve some psychobabble, but then I think it has to. But the couch aspect has all derived from, of course, good old Sigmund Freud. Sigmund Freud, who started psychoanalysis, one of the first kind of proper therapies, if that's the word you can use, insisted on all his clients actually lying on the couch, not even looking at him. He wasn't allowed to look at them, and the client wasn't allowed to look at them, because he felt that by doing so it would actually interfere with the client's subconscious or unconscious mind. And so lying on the couch was definitely something that they did. We don't do that. It's how he worked and how it did go to start with.
We sit on chairs maybe, don't we?
Yeah, chairs is definitely our seat of choice.
Relaxing,
although we are on a couch, which
Yes.
I think is quite ironic.
Yeah.
But it's a comfy couch, and in fact, going a little bit off topic,
Okay.
how we are talking to each other, how Nina and I are talking to each other, is effectively how we would talk to our client, isn't it? It's and I think that's crucial to take away from this video.
Especially as the relationship builds with the client.
Absolutely.
You get to know, and things become relaxed. Because obviously, I mean, just perhaps moving on to another area was, it might feel a bit weird initially, mightn't it, and scary.
Yes.
So.
Well, yeah.
But that as the walls break down, it.
Do you think therapy? How was your first therapy?
I was nervous when I first went, definitely, because I didn't know what to expect. But I was instantly put at ease by a very good therapist. So, and I just knew it was the right thing to do. It just felt right.
Perfect.
So, and haven't sort of looked back really.
I think
Very empowering process.
I'm just trying to recollect. My first therapy encounter's probably not the right word, but it doesn't matter. Was when I was 21.
Okay.
So good, nearly good 10 years ago. Worked out how old I am now. And I was really, really nervous, and I don't know actually. Thinking about it, there was an element of should I be doing this? But as soon as after the second or third session, I knew it was good therapist. They built forward and.
The mental strength it builds, it's
support.
Yeah, you just don't feel so alone through the process, and there's no really odd techniques with it, is there?
Oh no, I found that one that jumped out.
You might feel, some therapists work in their own style, but at the end of the day, it's just sort of good common sense, really.
Well, I think the odd techniques has definitely filtered through from, again, I'm not trying to name drop him too much, but it is Freud and people's misconceptions about it. And the misconception is that we do some really strange things. Perhaps hypnosis kind of crosses over that, but hypnosis is a very, very strong tool, and it can be utilised in a very, very positive way. As well as a technique called Emotional Freedom Technique, or EFT, a very cool technique, something we can offer at Calm Journey as well. But no, I wouldn't really say they're odd. No, just talking. Well, just talking.
It'll feel very normal once you're part of the process, really.
It. Yeah. Okay. Now, if you don't mind, I would really like to bring up one of my favourite ones of all time. Where is it? I'm trying to find it desperately. Here we go. I don't know. You don't know which one.
I think I can guess.
No,
which
I
one
don't know if you do.
Yeah.
It probably isn't.
Turns you into someone else. Therapy turns you into someone else.
No, but let's do that.
Okay.
Let's do that now.
Okay.
So, and as you've taken that away from me, because that was not my favourite one.
Okay.
But go for it.
Yeah.
Because that is definitely.
I think people come to therapy generally because they want something to change in their lives, and so if we want change, then maybe we have to change ourselves. And hopefully through therapy we change for the better. So maybe if we do turn into somebody else, it is for the better.
It is for the better,
it's more of a positive process.
I'm saying
so
absolutely way too much.
That's nothing to be scared of. It's
I think also maybe I don't have any evidence for this, but I'm just thinking out in my own head about this. Is perhaps that myth or misconception about it turning you into someone else may not be from the receiving party or the client in therapy, but perhaps the immediate family or girlfriend, partners, things like that, that notice that the positive influence that counselling has or therapy has changed that person or the client into a better person. And because that other person who's noticed the change isn't in therapy themselves, they may look on it as more of a negative impact, and this can have a knock-on effect on relationships. If you're in long-term therapy, when I say long-term therapy, I'm saying maybe more than 10 or 11 sessions, you will develop more self-esteem, yes, and just general well-being, and then you start doing more positive things and start talking to a camera about therapy, for example.
And you start to find yourself, find the true self. You know, a lot of it gets camouflaged, doesn't it? And you know, hidden by other people and processes, just life in general. But just finding time. It's time for you. It's just your time. It's for yourself to say what you want to say and not be judged or criticised. It's a completely neutral base sounding board.
Which is a very good strapline for therapy. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna just cut in there now. Get my own back as it were. So what I was gonna read was Misconception or Myth, which is a psychologist will just blame all your problems on your parents or your childhood experiences. This one probably is way too much to go into because it will be boring, and I don't want to do that to anyone who's watching this. But it is a minefield. Lots of therapists will say, no, it's not, but I'd say more than others would say it's not about blaming your parents, because your parents have always done the best that they knew.
They've done what they've known.
There's no handbook, there's nothing like that. But, and there is a but, which my own therapist says I'm not allowed to use, but it does have a profound influence on you. Your parents, everything you do, as soon as you're born, every aspect that you're witnessing, looking at, you are absorbing like these cameras. They are capturing absolutely every detail and facet of the individual. And or do I mean individual? No, I do. Absolutely everything they're seeing. And the behaviours, the good and the bad, or maybe not bad, just maybe slightly negative, are imprinted, for want of a better word, on your psyche, your subconscious, whatever you want to call it, and that will affect you in later life.
It is a blueprint of, you know, coming
it is a blueprint
through. They are part of you.
Do we blame parents? Absolutely not. I've never blamed a parent. I have said that perhaps you have learnt a behaviour from a parent, but that behaviour may be positive or negative, and it can be reframed and changed and all sorts. It can do all sorts of things. I think what we're responsible for is our own behaviour and changing negative behaviours into positive behaviours.
Definitely.
From what we've learned.
I mean, the first step obviously is becoming aware of that. You know, sometimes we're not even aware of what we're doing or where these behaviours and patterns come from. So, and once we become aware of why we're doing them and what triggers them, that's when we can step in
and change it for the better. And that's it. So that didn't take as long as I thought it would, but it is definitely something. And of course, if you did have any questions for us, you're more than welcome to just visit our website and email us directly, or you can start our blog. It's totally up to you. Sometimes people are a bit shy to actually approach, which we totally understand. So we've tried to govern our website to give you every opportunity to ask us questions in a completely private, confidential way to alleviate any pressure. And that way, maybe that may turn into you going to therapy with us, or maybe even someone else. It doesn't matter who you go to. It's just important, if you want to go, that you get the help that you need. So that was one of my favourites. Have you got a favourite, or do you want to go into? No, I think. Oh, I'm talking loads, but can I jump in?
Yeah, go. You're
I was on
Ollie.
it. If you see a therapist, they'll just want to put you on a bunch of drugs. That one can be quite easily put in a box.
Yes.
No, would be an answer. I think I think people do get confused about that because of the terminology. A psychiatrist is qualified to do that. They have the skills. They've gone through a lot of training, and they are brilliant, educate people, and they will be able to prescribe because they have to be. And don't hold me to this, but I'm pretty confident. they have to be at a similar level to GPs, because they need to have an understanding of the drugs that they're subscribing or prescribing, and do that. So a therapist, counsellor, we are not going to be putting.
We're not qualified.
We're not qualified to do that, and really sometimes drugs aren't the answer. Sometimes they are.
Yeah.
It depends, but I think the furthest that we would do, or I have been asked to do in the past, is to write to a GP and ask if there is anything that can be changed. But apart from that, no. The answer is no. A psychotherapist, unless overqualified, will never be putting you on any drugs.
I mean, just one thing that I'd perhaps like to say with that is that if you are prescribed medication from the GP, therapy is an excellent support alongside that.
Absolutely, and
so to help you get back, you know, where you want to be. So, but we do not prescribe.
No, we don't.
Any medication.
But that has triggered me off on something. In that Stephen Fry, and if I was honoured enough that Stephen Fry was watching this video, I hope I'm getting the quote right. But Stephen Fry said that the best way to combat any form of mental illness is actually with drugs and therapy. That's not to say they don't work on their own individually, because of course they do. But the ultimate helping kind of fix is if you're in that way, it's drugs and therapy. So that's just a bit of Stephen Fry. I dropped Stephen Fry in there somewhere. There we go.
Yeah. I mean, maybe just leading on from that, some people think only crazy people go to therapy. In actual fact, if someone was quite psychotic, then we aren't actually the right people for them.
Yes.
In some ways, they would be put onto other areas. So we're here for just normal sort of neuroses.
Absolutely,
that
yes.
people sort of have, really. So that's probably what I'd just like to say. There's a little concept of crazy people go therapy.
And it's not true, because let's just drop the word crazy, everyone. There's no such thing, really. I think there are people out there who need help, and if we can help them, we will help them.